We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Where is everybody? Is anyone still here? Well, they're coming back in today. First thing you're going to notice is that Michael Saylor is buying Bitcoin in small quantities. Now, why is that? Is that because Michael Saylor is chicken and doesn't want to run in and buy? Or it's because there's no Bitcoin to sell. The market makers have pushed everyone out of this market. They have people staring into space, including me, wondering, oh my God, what happened to my bags? I'm quitting, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back. Now, they did all of that, created this whole mess, wrecked everybody financially and psychologically. And despite that, there still isn't enough Bitcoin for him to do big purchases with Bitcoin in the 80s. You got to seriously think about this. You also have to start thinking about all the stuff that everybody thought was hot. Real world assets, AI, coins like Avalanche are back today with huge upside. Some of this stuff is back where it was in 2023. We have a chance to do the whole cycle all over again. Matter of fact, I would argue we have a chance to do the whole cycle, period. Because all we've done, all crypto market has done, is all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. There hasn't been a trend. There hasn't been a cycle. And the thing that's funny is literally everyone's gone. Gone. Right? There's nobody left except us. All right. Then, meanwhile, everyone's going to wake up this morning and it's going to wind up probably going up 7% at a time. And here's the kicker. Memes are back. Why not? Some guy said, yeah, tech narratives change, but memes last forever. I'm like, well, that's not the right thing to say at the top, but it may be the right thing to say at the bottom. Right? I mean, if memes are back, if people are going to go back into the casino and get busy, some of this stuff is so destroyed. Like somebody had me look at when I was like, oh my God, there's no one home. No one home. Or it's like a better analogy. Like your friends pull up to your driveway, they ring the doorbell, you're asleep. You don't wake up, you don't hear the doorbell or you don't hear the cell phone ring. But then what you do is you wake up in time to see your friends with a convertible full of partiers headed off and you're in your pajamas wondering what the hell happened. Why didn't you wake up? Why didn't you hear the alarm? Why didn't you hear the phone call? They started the party without you. Now, they didn't start the party without you, but I think they're starting the party without basically the entire market. And I'm not convinced that there's enough Bitcoin to fill the orders when guys like Saylor and BlackRock come in this time. There isn't enough. This is like the supply shock may be here. Bitcoin is trending on Twitter right now. 7:45 Central Time. Thomas, good morning. Is this another fake pump? No. If there was anything fake, it was this huge thing to the downside. We'll go over the whole tariff thing. The orange man's pumping his coin last night. He told you what was going to happen in this market. They're going to unwind all this bearish stuff, and everyone's going to go, why did we sell this thing again? Zav, good morning. Roby, right? I don't think ETH is going down again. I don't know. ETH likes to pop its head above 2K and come back down. I think once ETH clears 2K, you'll never see sub 2K again. That's just me. Taz Pinball, good vibes for the week. Coming right at you. Warmon, we have turned the corner. Fake rally, 70K Bitcoin. Okay. Vince, Rock Feeder, Horace, SG, Babalo, Vanessa, Tyler, Calvin, Devin, Old Smoky. Oh no. is here. Okay, news, let's go. So the news has been bullish all week. It has been. Just that the market hasn't traded it. So this is old, I think. But Denzel Washington says the cemeteries are filled with people that never lived up to their potential. You must get everything out of your body, your mind, and your spirit. You got to get everything you can get. And I have no idea why in the age of AI, which can create both volatility and prosperity, that we're all sitting here negative on crypto. It's crazy. I mean, everyone was talking about Bitcoin going to 250K. Do you realize that that's a 3X from 80? We're all sitting here with Bitcoin at 80, and everybody was a consensus view that it was going to 250K off a fall in the dollar and a supply shock. And we just sat there, just like we sat there and looked at it, sub 20K in 2022. We sat there and we looked at it and we were just like, I'm too bearish. I can't deal with it. Like that was fear was the mind killer. Now, I mean, that was after FTX. So I understood the fear, but I mean, this was just a disappointment trade that the government didn't come out and pump our bags right out of the gate. So are we, and I have to ask myself this every day. It's like, hey, you got to make short videos. Hey, you got to make, you got to go live. You got to go live twice a day. You got to go live 3 times a day. Like why? No one cares. Okay. The reason is because you got to get everything out of your body, your mind, and your spirit. Gee, White House narrows April 2nd tariffs. Just trying to spook everybody into investing in America. South Korea's Hyundai to announce $20 billion investment in the U.S. He doesn't actually have to implement the tariffs. By the way, imports are only 11% of GDP. We're acting like we're going to destroy our economy with these tariffs. We're not. The threat of the tariffs is actually bringing in investment, right? Invest here or pay the price. Classic Orange Man. And it's working. And we're selling. China is terrified. That could be true. Their economy may be turning the corner because they're just massively printing. Okay, but it's still fragile. It's still fragile. Right? Like they may make a whole bunch of noise about it, but I think they're going to do what he wants them to do. Right? Because their economy is just too fragile. Now, of course, he could incite them into doing something crazy, but they're in trouble. They have to print. That's the bottom line. The harder he leans on them, the more they have to print. And we have to print too, because we have to borrow $9 trillion. So everyone has to print. The harder he leans on this tariff thing, the more they have to print. And 3 months from now, that'll be the story. Be like, wow, they did because that was what happened in 2017. 2017, we went through this whole tariff thing. Money supply went up for a year and Bitcoin went straight up. I've been saying this for like a week and a half. Today, they're trading it. It doesn't matter until it does. Foreign direct investment inflows to China collapsed. Right? In other words, no one's interested in going over there. Now, could that be over? Could that be overdone? Yeah, maybe. But the Orange Man's made it clear he wants everybody investing over here. Period. And, when you look at a lot of this government corruption, the Orange Man will come on the tape and just say something like, people have been ripping us off for years. He might be right about that. This whole system where everybody is, the whole system, let's just call it the system. This whole system is bunk. This includes fiat. I don't understand why the alternative system to all this stuff is just been pushed out of a car. I've been talking about this for a long time. Or it feels like a long time, for like 2 weeks. And YouTube views have just vaporized. Everyone is gone. The Federal Reserve just turned inflationary as Jerome Powell slashes Treasury sales. So the Fed had been selling treasuries and pulling money out of the system, right? We give you treasuries, you give us money, and we don't put the money back in the system. That was a part of the tightening program. Well, they've stopped doing that. Of course they have. How can the Fed be selling treasuries how can the Fed sell government bonds when the Treasury has to sell $9 trillion and keep their jobs? And I don't think they're going to be able to keep their jobs because when Powell came out with the stupid dot plot, with all this stuff about we have to wait for the tariffs, when they're adjusting their inflation forecasts higher after 3 years or 2 years of telling you that everything is fine and inflation is 3% when it was 30%, they basically just held up a big sign that says, fire us all. Fire us all. And that's what's going to happen. Okay, China warns of shocks that exceed expectations. So if they lean on them too hard, it could crater their system. We talked about this, but again, all it means is they have to print harder. Now, this was the signal. Okay. Orange Man on Truth Social. I love my meme coin. It's so cool. It's the greatest of them all. This was the signal that I don't know, that the Treasury's doing high-powered money. It's called Treasury QE. I don't know. I don't know, but the Orange Man sold the top, and I think he just bought the bottom. Right? Let's do a quick scalp. You know what I'm saying? Like, we sold them to him at 110 Bitcoin, and we're going to buy it all back at 85. He's not stupid. He just isn't. Here we go. Doomberg. Stumbling stock market raises specter of dot-com era reckoning. Meanwhile, S&P futures back above the 200-day moving average, and everything seems fine. Right? It's in a range, right? Oh my God, it's the apocalypse, everyone out. Okay, it's not the apocalypse, everyone back in. Oh my God, something bad is happening in Japan, back down again. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to go on in stocks all year. Meanwhile, crypto has not been able to do the trend. It's like, let's just be simple about this. What has happened for the last 3 years in equities since they stopped the tightening cycle? Equities have trended up. Tech stocks have trended up, while crypto is all the way up, all the way down, minus Bitcoin. And even with Bitcoin, you got a 25% correction. Why can't they be in a range and crypto trend? Why is that so absurd? Because people are acting like it's absurd. Meanwhile, these clowns are all negative. Everybody is negative. Look at this. Doomberg. Billion-dollar levies on Chinese ships risk trade apocalypse. Yeah, okay, we're going to lean on the Chinese hard. Okay, yeah, okay. We're going to lean on the Chinese hard. You know what? If the Chinese could lean on us hard, they would do it. The Orange Man doesn't care. He doesn't. He doesn't care who he leans on. He just wants everything over here because we have $37 trillion in debt. So there's some urgency about what he has to do. Now, just in case you think this system that you're in is working out, that you don't need privacy, that actually there isn't an argument to like stop the socialist nightmare that's out there, whether you have to bust it with the Orange Man or you have to bust it with crypto, this lady could have a brain tumor. Okay. Her MRI is scheduled, you ready? For January of next year because, you know, the Canadian healthcare system has its difficulties. Okay. Everything governments touch turns to poo. So you have government running healthcare, poo. You have government running money supply, poo. I understand you can't figure out the link between this kind of thing and, you know, crypto. I understand people in America have problems with healthcare, right? I get it. Anything governments do, anything they touch, even if they mean well, let the market figure these things out. Okay, so Dalio, again, being forced to like Bitcoin, right? he gets so much attention for the whole, oh my God, it's a debt apocalypse. This guy is like a self-fulfilling prophecy in the other direction. Like he comes out, he says it's the end of the world. It winds up on the White House briefing. Howard Lutnick, the Treasury Secretary, all these Soros guys go, this can't happen. This cannot happen. How are we going to fix this? So the louder he gets, the less likely it happens. And the more likely that all this doom stuff that he pumps out winds up being vented with much higher Bitcoin. Now, I said that. I said it all the way down. No one's listening. I get it. No one cares. Their bags are wrecked. The simple fact of the matter is Dalio recommends holding 10 to 15%, which means Bridgewater's got 10 to 15% or more in Bitcoin and gold. Probably through a derivatives or a call option position where, in other words, where they make a lot of money on a big up move. And their risk is a lot smaller. They just have to time it right. So timing it when Bitcoin is at 80K and everyone's bearish is probably a great time to do it because everyone's bearish and everyone's out, except Dalio, Michael Saylor, and BlackRock. I mean, God. Binance just back at least 250 million Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana in the last hour. There isn't enough supply out there, I'm telling you. The supply of these big cryptos has been hoovered up, and even stuff like Solana, right? I think the meme coin casino is open again. And again, the AIs, Fartcoin's been telling you that for like 2 weeks. Fartcoin's been going up for like a week and a half. Can you imagine if they open up the casino again in Solana with Solana at 120? Or if somebody runs a DeFi application on ETH, an investment bank comes in? They got to do 9 trillion in treasuries. They're going to do that without tokenization. Again, you know, I say this, I've been saying this for like a week and a half. Supposedly, I'm like the only YouTuber on the air. Everyone else is off the air. They just said, that's it. Futures jump on report Trump reciprocal tariffs will be more targeted. Everyone negative, stocks, boom. Stocks are in a range. Raise your hand if you would like to see Ron Paul as Fed chairman. Powell really screwed up with this dot plot nonsense. You know, they changed government regulation and egg prices collapsed. Egg prices may wind up going down in history along with these government layoffs as example of how to crush inflation. Get rid of regulation and dramatically shrink government. Again, Elon wants, we got the slide somewhere in here. Howard Lutnick from Cantor Fitzgerald says we can cut $1 trillion. Elon says we can cut it all. We'll go over it. My copy of the Constitution is offended by the Fed's existence. How about yours? Dude, the Fed has 2 choices, print or go away. They're going to print. They're going to print. Because if Elon goes in there and they audit him and they have $4 trillion worth of S&P derivatives that they've been using to artificially inflate the stock market. I mean, every day they're finding this insane amount of like fraud and things like that. You don't think they have that at the Fed and the Treasury? It's probably breathtaking. DOGE and Elon should let Ron Paul run a Fed audit team. Print or we go in there. They're back banning stuff again. There's guys talking about, I don't know, whatever's going on in Egypt. I just think everybody's afraid of the truth, whatever it is. Whatever it is. They found something under the pyramids. Everyone's losing their mind. They're trying to shut it off. I don't understand why. Are governments acting in your interest? Like, who's ordering that to be shut off? You know, Elon shut off AI McAfee, and AI McAfee is back. I have a funny AI McAfee story I'll do later. I love Trump. So cool. At the bottom. A short but deep recession coming as DOGE exposes mind-shocking fraud. The economy's been running on sugar for 2 years. They just printed indiscriminate amounts of money to keep everything moving. Then they just handed it out. Now, my other question is, which people have not thought of yet, what happens when the state governments start getting involved in this? California is insolvent. Illinois is insolvent. Illinois has been printing money, has been getting printed money from the Fed for 5 years. New York is insolvent. New Jersey is worse. They cannot raise taxes enough. Do you realize in New York City, they have like a $9 congestion toll? So if you drive your car, I guess, into New York City, not only are you paying bridge tolls, you're just, hi, welcome to New York City, $9. The states, there are insolvent states. And if they start doing this DOGE thing, they have to start doing this DOGE thing. You're going to have rates at 1% by the time it's done. I mean, the Fed's going to be like panic cutting and printing money. They're just going to have to put high-powered money in the system. They may have done it this morning because they're in trouble. Ron Paul's face, print. 13 politicians now endorse a proposal for the U.S. to buy 1 million Bitcoin. You know, they better hurry up. I don't think they could buy one. I don't think they could buy 200,000 Bitcoin this year. I think they drive it to 200. Like, there isn't enough Bitcoin for Michael Saylor. How is BlackRock and the government and all these other players, how are they going to get it? Well, that's easy. They're going to have to start taking over miners. BlackRock owns 5% of MicroStrategy. We talked about this last week. Went right over the market's head because the market is too busy being negative equities because of whatever reason. Whatever reason. It's probably just because people are just mindlessly bearish. Hong Kong ETF issuer says China is actively exploring reversing its stance on Bitcoin. Yeah, no duh. They got to get crypto in the hands of their people to create a wealth effect, or they're going to have social disorder, which, by the way, the Chinese run their entire country. Everything the government does over there has one purpose: keep the country together and avoid social disorder. That is a fact. They do not want social disorder. That's why they have all this surveillance. That's why they have a CBDC. That's why they have all this stuff. They're communists, but the reason they act the way they do is to keep the society together. Their biggest fear is social disorder. And that's why they kicked Bitcoin out to begin with. But now they're like, oh my God, we need to have a wealth effect because everyone's doing this. And we just sent our entire mining industry over to Texas. And American companies and the American government could wind up buying these mining companies. By the way, the companies, they're destroyed. The stocks are destroyed. Bitcoin is the winning strategy. MicroStrategy has required 6,000 Bitcoin, 580 million at 84K. That's smaller than usual because they can't get it. I'm telling you, it's not there. He's raising the capital. They can't fill the orders. They can't fill the orders. This is a funny video. Some guy predicted Bitcoin at exactly 84K on Pi Day. Nobody knows how that happened. The same guy is predicting 400,000 Bitcoin. I didn't watch the rest of the video. I don't have to because I've been screaming this for a long time. There's no supply and everyone has given up on Web3 and I have no idea why. Hell, they gave up on Web2. They gave up on everything. Everything. Memes, Web2, stocks, Bitcoin. There's no one left. Kathy Wood kicks off El Salvador's new education program. You know what? This bottom is so easy, even Kathy Wood gets it. And Kathy Wood doesn't get anything. Like Nancy Pelosi frequently buys it and is selling to Kathy Wood. Rich Dad, Poor Dad said Bitcoin makes it easy for everybody to become rich. The biggest opportunity in history is real. I did not look in the technology section. I probably should have. In the business section of 2 different Barnes and Noble, no crypto books, none. The only crypto magazine I could find was an article about, was a copy, one copy of Bitcoin magazine talking, discussing the halving. That was 12, 18 months ago. No one's interested. I saw this guy's book, though. Billionaire Tim Draper says Bitcoin is going to 250K this year. Okay. Well, I'd be really interested to see somebody pay 87. No one wants to pay 87, but it's going to 250. Like, how do you reconcile this? No one will touch it. This market has been radioactive for a week. Mass exodus from YouTube, mass exodus from Twitter, the influencers off the air. It's going to 250, but no one will pay 87. So either it's not going to 250 or it's a bottom because no one cares. Okay. Wow. Elon's house is 1,200 square feet. So I lived in a 1,200 square foot apartment. You basically got enough room to sleep, a breakfast nook, and to put a recliner or a couch to watch TV, if you're lucky. You definitely don't have room for a desk in a YouTube studio, although I did it. Lutnick and Elon have a conversation. Lutnick says, we're going to balance the budget. I need to cut $1 trillion. Elon says we can cut 80% of the federal government. 6 million people work for the government. Elon wants to cut it down to 450K. That's basically police. That's basically the FBI and our intelligence units. Like, that includes the Pentagon. So police, military, and intelligence. Lutnick says, I know how to cut 50%. Elon says, I want to cut 80. Lutnick says, but I know how to cut 50%. And Elon says, are you with me or against me? Now, Elon eventually gave the whole meeting a thumbs up because he actually walked out on Lutnick to go do something with his kid. Lutnick thought the meeting was over, and Elon comes back in and says, I love this meeting. Elon fired 90% of Twitter. All these tech companies are going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing. They can always rehire people. I don't know where all these people are going to go. I don't know what the Fed is going to do when they stand up and go, oh, gee, we just raised our inflation forecast. And yeah, the job market's a disaster and inflation is at 1%. Classic reverse indicator. They're burning down his Tesla dealerships. What do you think this guy's going to do? I've been saying this for 3 days. The IMF is now on board with Bitcoin because there's a supply shock coming. They're like, if we don't get some of this stuff now, we won't be able to get it. That's what's going on. That's what's it is happening right in front of your eyes. These guys gave El Salvador a hard time for buying 1 Bitcoin a day when it was down. Luckily, they're a small enough player where they can just do that. They can just buy 1 Bitcoin every day. That's an easy order for market makers to fill. What happens when they got to buy 1,000? The market makers have to buy 2,000 Bitcoin per day. The supply isn't there. Solana co-founder says there is no reason to build layer 2s. Layer 1s can do it just fine. Yeah, Solana, straight down. Sui, straight down. Bitcoin Pizza Day. I didn't hear one word about Bitcoin Pizza Day. Not one word. Normally it's like, it's Pizza Day. Everybody live stream about Bitcoin. Not one word. You know what I'm saying? Like, who sold Bitcoin when it was like worth pennies? That's what everyone says. Like, oh my God, can you believe this guy did this? There's going to be a whole bunch of people when Bitcoin is at 400K going, oh my God, can you believe these ninnies? Like, yeah, complain that the government didn't moon their bags and gave up on it at 80. BlackRock predicting 500,000. Everybody is like numb to this stuff, right? It's like these guys know where it's going. and they know who's going to buy it, and they may buy it. I mean, if BlackRock put all these things in their own mutual funds, they could probably take it right back to 120. If they did a 5% allocation, and your real allocation to Bitcoin should be 20%. Metaplanet hires Eric Trump. No one's listening to the current people who are buying Bitcoin because BitBoy is out of the picture. There is no influencer in the crypto market. There's no massive, major influencer in the crypto market, which is why the orange man has to do it. The orange man has to do it. Robinhood doubles down, backed, which was the NASDAQ attempt at a Bitcoin ETF or futures contract. They're back. Haha. Trump administration wants foreign aid on the blockchain so everyone can see it. Where's Move? Where are any of these layer ones? Security tokens, treasuries? North Korea has more Bitcoin than Tesla. Elon doesn't buy Bitcoin because he doesn't want a distraction from his narrative as, Mr. Cost Cut guy. But Elon's not selling that Bitcoin. He's not selling it. And again, someone's going to figure out that the North Koreans, have the third biggest strategic Bitcoin reserve. No one wants to talk about it because probably SEAL Team 6 is hunting down these hackers. It's unbelievable. Coinbase wants to buy Deribit, right? Everyone is selling. These guys are all buying, bidding, taking everything that they can get their hands on. Worth repeating. Everyone wants regulatory clarity. The SEC is bull posting crypto at least twice a week. And they drop the charges against everybody. Yeah, they need a stablecoin bill but that's going to happen because the stablecoin companies buy treasuries. That's going to get done. You're going to wake up one day and that's going to be done because they got to get a bid for 9 trillion treasuries. Hyundai, 20 billion investment. ETH versus Bitcoin on support. It's hard to believe they can continue to sell ETH at these levels. Let's look at Avalanche Weekly. Okay. So this is 2023. Wave 1 up, wave 2 down. A, B, C. This is not the cycle. This is a correction. This is a consolidation for the cycle. Right? You ever heard me say, series of 1s and 2s, all the way up, all the way down? This is a consolidation. A, B, C. Like if Avalanche can go back up here, what's the rest of the market going to do? Trump's crypto reserve shocks the market. What's next? What's next? That's a good question. What is next? What's next? Okay, I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but Bobby just said no more ads on television for a certain group of people. These guys are not playing around. They're not. I said that before the election. I bull posted the top, so I screwed up. But the concept is not different. They're going to do what they said. They are doing what they said they were going to do. Even the critics of the administration with the, release of the 80,000 page documents. Yeah, you didn't get it all. But the reason you didn't get it all is for a certain reason, because it would embarrass an ally or an alleged ally, and everyone's figured that out already. That's like mainstream news. So they actually did release it all. They just let you figure out the part that they left out. They're doing what they said they are going to do. Avalanche up 10%. note, Avalanche has to go up to 26. Can you even tell this is up 10%? Can you even tell by looking at this chart? You can't. And in Avalanche, money flow is about to go green. What happens if the whole rest of the market follows? This feels like you got like, I don't know. Feels like you got like 6 hours to buy it before it just explodes. MOG up 16%. Cat coins moving. Pepe up 3%. Solana up 7%. ETH up 3%. What's going to stop this? Honestly. And you know what? It's not like it's up 20% in one day, because that's not sustainable, right? Gradually, then suddenly. See if I can get some cooperation here. 13 bottom in Bitcoin. 0 signal means it's over, right at the blow off bottom level. And this bottom, at this 13 bottom, has not been confirmed yet, because you cannot get a sustained uptrend started. And I said this last week, if Bitcoin blows through 90, the next level is 102. This red DeMark line. Who's talking about 102? You have guys talking about 250, 400, and 700, but no one's talking about 92. And nobody wants to pay 85 or 87. No one is interested. No one. Look at this. This is SUI versus Bitcoin. So you have massive SUI FOMO, and then SUI comes off, and this DeMark level, this again versus Bitcoin. SUI retraced the entire rally versus Bitcoin. Look at Propy. 13 bottom. Selling climax on 9 bottom. Every uptick getting sold. You have a housing market that's not functioning. And then you have this going on today. Let's just put up arrow for laughs. Because I know that's destroyed. I mean, arrow is so destroyed. So you got the 13 bottom, you got the blow off bottom level, and then it just pushed everyone out, because for 2 weeks it sat here below this level. This is the DEX on base, which Coinbase is eventually going to have to wake up and support. Yet it's still destroyed. They still won't buy it. Waiting for antivirus. The bigger the base, the higher into space. They've been buying. Somebody asked for a comparison between this and Tornado Cash. Like, Tornado Cash has been doing these huge spikes up. Antivirus has similar functionality to Tornado Cash, better tokenomics, and they're going to have a mixer or privacy for Solana and ETH. No one wants to touch any of this. Let's look at Ski. So Ski still has to recover above 5 cents. I think you have to start asking yourself, what happens if it does? Like, that's the question you have to start asking yourself, right? Like, Ski could not hold above any technical level. But to me, this looks so completely destroyed. I mean, this is back near where it was, like the initial peak, probably before Brian Bull posted it. I mean, what happens if memes come back? You know, it's so easy. Like Kathy Wood was like, oh, meme coins are never coming back. Kathy, that was the thing to say 3 months ago. Now, Fartcoin is coming back. Now, I don't know if this can continue to outperform. I actually hope it does because my altcoin is in the AI sector. I don't know if I saved it. I asked McAfee yesterday, fart coins going up, what would you do? McAfee AI said whistle coin for whistleblower, WHISL. WHSL not taken. WHISL not taken. Can you imagine if they keep finding this government fraud, what could happen to whistleblower coin? McAfee was famous for coin of the day when he was, was doing crypto on Twitter. What happens if this agent, if you just ask it, can create the meme of the day? I'm just saying, I don't know that they're going to do that. I mean, what I would do is I would have McAfee create a meme of the day, launch it on Pump, and then if it actually worked out and kept going, the project could sell along the way if it went up, and use the proceeds to buy anti-back. Now, I don't know that that's going to happen, but some AI agent is going to create coins on Solana. They're going to create new coins. I can't believe we don't understand that. But then again, I can, because, we've done this before. Everyone has gotten bearish. Everyone hates the market. Everyone leaves, and then it goes up. And it really isn't up that much. I mean, stocks right now, S&P is up more than Bitcoin. And S&P, after stopping everyone out and making everybody bearish, you have a Lux algo buy signal, and it's ripping above the 200-day moving average. And crypto stocks, the market's not open yet. Like, what is going to happen to these stocks? Right? Marathon, MicroStrategy. Like, look at Marathon, man. They just they killed it. HUT, same thing. No one wants it. It's like, it's dead. It was dead. Okay, so I think you get the point. At least I hope you do, right? Holy schmoly said, yeah, I might break even. You know what? Here's what happens when it's down. You either never break even and it goes to zero, or you do break even, and once you break even, it just smokes to the upside. Everybody gets out to stop the pain, and then the big players come in and just take it. And as we know in crypto, like at 110, it was 108, Bitcoin was incredible. It was going to 200, but at 80, no one wanted it. So it's much more attractive at higher prices. This is human nature. Crazy banana pants. We will see you tomorrow.